Welcome back. We'll get to Cole Beasley in a second, but first, Blazers Thunder. Watch Paul George. Hustles back, stuffs Al-Farouq Amino's layup.
Paul George having just a spectacular season.
Man, what an amazing decision. Didn't go back to California.
Nope.
Didn't go play for the Lakers. Always going to stay in a small market. Not too much different than the Pacers. It's amazing to see him grow his game with Russell Westbrook. Because now you can't say, oh, it's Russell's fault now.
Same game. Westbrook gets a clear path to the rim, takes off for the big tomahawk.
I mean, that's one of those angry vintage Russell Westbrook dunks where it looks like he injures the rim. Russ was on one yesterday. Go get it. And we've been waiting to see, now that he's in year 10, will the explosiveness start to trail off?
Oh, you can't go to every game and expect to see this. So the explosiveness has died down a little bit. Yeah, sometimes you get a sneak preview.
Finally, Mavs Clippers, Luka Doncic with a nice behind-the-back move to split the D for the easy layup.
And then the nice little lefty layup. Go get it, Luka. You know, Daryl Morey's going to be on the show later today. I want to talk to him about Luka. I have a good feeling he's as big a fan of Luka as we are, but I don't know how much he can say because of the NBA silly tampering stuff. But he is having...
Maybe you should ask him before he gets on the
Well, I'm going to. He's not here yet. I got that handled, see?
All right, moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. They won the NFC East and a playoff game for the first time since 2014, but as expected, wasn't all roses along the way. We're learning now that one of the players was unhappy with his role this season, and that was Cole Beasley. He responded to a fan on Twitter yesterday with a whole lot of raw truth. Said, honestly, the front office pushes who they want to get the ball to. I haven't been a huge priority in that regard. Maybe that will change, but I'm not sure. More balls come my way in 2-minute drills where nothing is planned. Doesn't mean I'm gone. I'll play anywhere where I can make more of an impact. I would love for that to be Dallas or anywhere else that will give me more props to make an impact. I just want a ball. It's hard with 3 to 4 opportunities a game. See, you shook your head a little bit while I was reading that. What was your reaction to this?
Well, how many times should they throw to Cole Beasley a game? Should they throw 10 times to him? I mean, let's not lose perspective on who you are. You mentioned the raw truth. Raw truth. Hey, there ain't no truth to this. Cole Beasley has not been a priority because he hadn't been good enough. How about that? How about Cole Beasley look in the mirror and say, you know something? I've never been the best wide receiver on Dallas. I've never been the best top two wide receivers on Dallas. This year he had an opportunity, and in that opportunity, Dallas's offense and their passing game was so bad, you know what they had to do? Crisis alert. Break the glass. Trade for Amari Cooper.
Yes.
So that's the reason why. Cole Beasley, you're very, very limited. You're not a special teams player. You are only a slot receiver. You are not a deep threat. You are not a burner, okay? You are a possession slot receiver playing for the Dallas Cowboys, who are challenged to throw the ball above 30 times because their recipe for success has been throwing the ball to you 2 to 4 times. That's when the Cowboys are successful. So thinking he would have more opportunities, this is a trait for wide receivers. If you're a 4, you swear up and down you should be a 3. If you're a 3, oh man, I'm so good. These people holding me back. That's the reason why I'm not a number 2. If you're a number 2, oh, I want number 1 money. All these receivers, typically, they get a rude awakening when they try to step up to that responsibility. It's no different than in life. People always think, I should get more. Oh, everyone's holding me back. A lot of times people should look them damn selves in the mirror and realize that's the problem. It happens to be me, and I'm not that good.
There is nothing I've been more certain about in the last 6 months doing this show than Chris's reaction to this story. Chris, what is the personality trait amongst people that irks you the most? A lack of what?
Not being self-aware.
Self-awareness. Colby, what team in this league, now the CFL may be different, but in the NFL, what team gonna give Cole Beasley more than 90 targets? Because that's what he got with Dallas. He got 90 targets.
Jacksonville.
Right, maybe. Do you know how fortunate he was? He was on Dallas this year. That because Allen Hurns didn't step up, because they got rid of Des Bryant, Jason Witten retired, for the first 8 weeks of the year, he was the featured part of their offense. And he finished the year with his second best season ever. 65 catches, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those are his second best career numbers across the board in every category. What team is desperately in need of the 11th best slot receiver in football? Like, because that's his ceiling right now. He is, even by slot receiver standards, he's small.
Yeah.
He's not incredibly fast. He has good hands, but not like, oh my God, those are the best hands in the league. I just don't know. And this is where it's one thing to be have a lack of self-awareness. It's another thing those statements to me were somewhat delusional. Because what that is saying is powers unforeseen to others are holding me back.
Yeah, I'm better than these other guys in practice, but they're holding me back.
And it's not
so Dez Bryant wasn't better than me. Oh, Jason Witten wasn't better than me. Because let's not forget. Now, we know on this year's roster, they were challenged. He was not a better wide receiver than Michael Gallup. All right? He wasn't a better receiver than Amari Cooper. And then we saw later on they tried to get their tight ends involved in the offense. The reason why Dallas's offense is this way is a lot because of people like Cole Beasley who don't have a lot of variance in the things that they can do.
But in Jenna, but it wasn't even. The coaching staff is holding me back. The quarterback's holding me back. There's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's that there are people in the suite during the game who aren't even wearing headsets. It's the old, man, why didn't that work out for you? Politics. How many failed, whether it's high school or collegiate athletes, do you know that it didn't work out the way that they thought it would? And obviously this isn't Cole Beasley. He's not a failed high school collegiate athlete. But when you talk to him at the old reunion, like, hey, so what happened to you? That dude, man, politics, man. Politics got to me. The coach was playing favorites, but this is the owner and GM are playing favorites. It's silliness. It makes them look bad.
So let's take a step back and talk about this Cowboys offense. Emmitt Smith came out and said that he thought the problem with the offense this season was that they were too predictable. You knew what was going to happen. They also went ahead and fired their offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, this week. What do you think the issue is with this offense? Is it personnel or is it play calling?
Well, for one, when the Dallas Cowboys offense was the absolute best, when they had the triplets, when they had Troy, Emmitt, and Michael, they were very predictable too. The best offenses that we've ever seen, there's a predictability about them. But they're skilled. They're good. They had a great offensive line. They had a great quarterback. And the talent that they had at the skilled position was second to none. So, Emmitt, I understand you sitting there watching Dallas and everything, and because they have a dominant running game, you would say it's predictable. Most of the great offenses are very, very predictable, so I don't agree with that. They're just not that talented. They don't have a tight end at this point. Their offensive line has been not as good in the last 2 seasons. Now, I know people don't want to talk about that or say that, but a lot of their problem offensively has to do with the offensive line and how good is Dak going to get throwing the football. So all these things, yes, I'm going to be a predictable offense if my quarterback is challenged to throw the ball above 25 times. So that's what we have in Dallas. That's the raw truth in Dallas compared to some of these other stories that other people are trying to put out there.
What, formation-wise, what was the most predictable offense in football this year? The Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back. During the playoffs, as far as are we going to run or are we going to pass? What was the most predictable offense in the playoffs so far this year?
New England.
The New England Patriots.
James Devlin.
Who's on the field?
Sony Michel.
Right. So
80% of the time they're on the field, they're going to run the ball.
Run the ball.
And they're not going to give it to James Devlin.
Right. So we know who they're running it. And so predictability is only bad if you can't be effective while being predictable. Now, if Emmitt's point was that they don't have enough creativity in the route tree, that their pass patterns don't catch anyone off guard.
I don't think Emmitt was talking about that.
Okay, well that's a point that I think is a fair one. If I'll make that point, then
because that's something that you have brought up in the past.
It's one of the reasons I
all this offense that we're seeing.
Yes.
Imagine adding something to what happens to be the staple for Dallas. That's what you talked about. And that was your problem with Scott Linehan.
100%. And so do I think the Cowboys offense could get more creative, add more wrinkles? Do I think they could have an upgrade now that Linehan's out? I believe all of those things. But but the personnel issue is a real one. And the question about, we have all this money spent on our offensive line, it can't be the 8th. A lot of teams would love to have the 8th best offensive line in football. But when you got the most expensive, you need to have one of the 2 or 3 best in the league. And when Cole Beasley's frustrated, a lot of receivers' frustration comes from quarterback play. And when they are going to run the ball and be limited in what they can do throwing the football, part of that is because of the quarterback. But also, we saw Dak become a totally different quarterback once he got a real number 1. As far as he had Cole Beasley that first half of the year, and Dak looked as limited as we've ever seen him. Cole Beasley needs to look at the
Beasley
Michael
did go
Jackson,
on to say, don't worry, I'm not talking about Dak Prescott. He's my favorite quarterback.
No, it's the conspiracy.
It's just it's the front office.
It's the black helicopter.